Sahana Bhavatu, Sahana Bhunaktu, Sahaviryam Karavavai, Tejasvinavaditamastu, Ma Vinvishavahai, Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Welcome, everyone. Well, before we start, let's share news. Those who watch Taka every day already saw our banner change. Used to say monasteries closed. Now it says the temple's open with capacity limits. I think it was it's either March 14th or March 15th we closed last year. We're almost a full year. We closed a couple of weeks before we had to, based upon common sense. Good advice from medical professionals that hunker down. So we're opening the 9 a.m. Shiva Puja with capacity restrictions from the county and reservations required, so we don't get too many people on the same day. So people need to email puja@hindu.org to request a reservation. But the grounds are still closed. We don't want to have people wandering around without controls. Not ready for that. So just the temple in a very controlled way is open up now to visitors, which is a wonderful step forward to reopening, and that's possible because Hawaii is doing very well, COVID-19 wise, and Kauai in particular of all the islands is doing exceptionally well. Generally every day it has zero new cases with a population of 72,000, so that's pretty good. Somebody gets COVID just because they went to the mainland. The reason. Oh, we're continuing here. Let's see if we can share the screen. Share. Okay, are you seeing raising children as good Hindus?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So we're continuing that. You know, it's the Insight section in April 2021 issue of Hinduism Today, which I'm sure some of you have received already. And it divides up nicely into 9 parts. So we're presenting 9 Zoom satsangs. They're a little bit short, but the material makes more sense in 9 parts. And we're up to number 6 today. It has 3 sections. The first one is cultivating 9 key spiritual qualities. The 6th quality to develop is a pious character. Pious character is evident when we naturally treat others with kindness, generosity, and appreciation. It is fulfilled when we seek the blessings of God, gods, and Guru throughout life. Oh, we get our first question for you. How can this be cultivated in children? So there's a few different answers we're going to give. There's not just one way. See if you can come up with at least one idea. How can we cultivate pious character in children? It is through the parents demonstrating these qualities themselves. Children learn that this behavior is expected of them by observing their parents' actions. So example is always part of it. Piety is cultivated by referring often to the 10 observances, niyamas, of Hinduism's code of conduct, and pointing out their relevance in daily life on TV and in movies.
Sochi?
So TV and movies are sometimes thought of as worldly, but they are filled with teachers, shall we say.
Georgie? Sorry, it's already started. I didn't realise. Barney's just... The Satguru's already on. Come down.
Sorry about that.
That's all right, just waiting.
All fixed.
And so television and movies are filled with teachers. Why is that? Because some people teach us what to do and other people teach us what not to do. So sometimes we get an abundance of people teaching us what not to do, but that's okay. Want to use that as teaching material. Niyamas, remorse, contentment, giving, faith, worship of the Lord, scriptural listening, cognition, sacred vows, recitation, and austerity. Pious character is nurtured by teaching the child to worship and pray in the home, shrine, or at the temple before important events, such as beginning a new school year or before final examinations. So we want to integrate it with events in life. Gurudeva outlined the ideal. Hindu children are always treated with great respect and awe, for one does not always know who they are. They may be incarnations of a grandmother, grandfather, aunt, or uncle, dearly beloved mother, sister, brother, respected father, a yogi, a rishi, returned to flesh to help mankind spiritually. We must ask, who are these souls? What is their destiny in this life? How can I help? Then we get our wise precepts section. Hinduism boldly proclaims that man can experience God, which of course all religions don't do that. Throughout the world today, many who are on the mystical path want to have a personal spiritual experience. They want to see God. Hinduism not only gives them the hope that they can achieve their goal in this lifetime, but it gives them the practical tools, such as the disciplines of yoga and meditation, through which this goal eventually becomes a reality. The focus on many religions is on helping those who do not believe in God to believe in God. Belief in God in such faith is the beginning and the end of the process. Once you believe in God, there is nothing more to do. However, in Hinduism, belief is only the first step. Hindus want to move beyond believing in God to experiencing God. To the Hindu, belief is but a preparatory step to divine daily communion and life-transforming personal realization. There's a classic story from the life of Swami Vivekananda, one of Hinduism's best-known modern teachers, that illustrates the Hindu perspective of experiencing God. When Vivekananda was still a university student, he asked many of the foremost religious leaders in the Calcutta area where he lived if they had seen God. However, he never got a clear answer from any of them until he met Sri Ramakrishna. During his second meeting with Sri Ramakrishna, he asked the great sage, "Sir, have you seen God?" Calmly, Sri Ramakrishna replied, "Yes, I see him as clearly as one sees an apple in the palm of the hand. Nay, even more intently, and not only this, you can also see him." This deeply impressed the young Vivekananda, who soon after accepted Sri Ramakrishna as his guru. So it's a well-known story, of course. There's one point there that I wanted to stress. You can also see him. So that's the important one, to make sure we have that subconscious attitude I noticed it many years ago in attending different Yoga Swami groups around the world, various countries, and very similar gatherings. You know, you start with Engo Gurunathan, Shiva Puranam, etc. And all the devotees there acknowledged Yoga Swami's greatness, but you know, they didn't see that same greatness as their own divine potential. So whatever greatness we see manifested in someone else is the potential of every soul. Because souls are not built differently. Our third section is on imparting beliefs and attitudes. Hinduism has advanced practices within it that many religions do not have. If you simply want to live a virtuous, pious life and be part of a community of fellow believers, you will discover that all religions are similar at that basic level. But if you have the desire to personally experience God, you will only find the advanced religious practices that lead to that divine experience in a few religions. A good example of this fact has been occurring in Catholic monasteries for decades. Some of the monks in these monasteries have the desire to personally experience God. What do they do to pursue this? They turn to Hindu scriptures such as Patanjali's yoga aphorisms for guidelines in deep meditation and inner spiritual attainments, as there are few such teachings in Christianity. So I spent a reasonable amount of time looking for a better photo, but I couldn't find any Catholic monks meditating. It's not something they put on Google Images. So that one will have to do. Such teachings, however, are regarded by the Catholic Church as heretical. And the Vatican has directed monks and nuns to cease all yoga practices and return to the path of prayer, which of course is dualistic. Applying a modern analogy, one could say that all religions are computers designed to answer our questions about life and God. But some religions are personal computers, some are mini computers, others are mainframe computers, but Hinduism is a supercomputer. Hinduism offers 4 ways to personally experience God. So that's the question to you. What are the 4 ways to personally experience God? Give a second since there's 4 of them. Okay, see how well you did? In Hinduism, deepening personal experience of God's presence is essential. Perhaps the easiest place to start is to see God in great religious teachers. We feel a spiritual aura about them that is different, uplifting and inspiring. We see a light in their eyes and feel a love in their presence we do not find in others. The second way to see God is to look deeply into the eyes of another person, look beyond his or her personality, deeper than the intellect, and see the individual's pure life energy as God. So that's the idea of Uyir Kuyir. God is the life of life. In Hindu culture, we have the opportunity every time we greet other people through the traditional gesture of namaskara to practice looking deeply enough into their eyes to see God within them as the life of their life. This practice is an excellent way for children to learn that all people are divine beings. So that's an important teaching. Everybody's a divine being. It's just in some people it's really well hidden. Third way to see God is through the deity's image in the Hindu temple. This is the devotional or theistic approach. Gods and devas from the inner spiritual worlds are able to bless us through the image in the temple. The image is like a temporary physical body they use during temple ceremonies. Okay. I got behind on the slide. Though occasionally a devotee may have a mystical vision of the god, the more common way we experience the gods and devas is as an uplifting, peaceful, divine energy or Shakti that radiates out from the image. It is easiest to feel their blessings at the high point of the puja when the flame is held high. If taught the joys of temple worship while toddlers, children will develop a devotional relationship with the deities that will strengthen and guide them throughout life. The fourth way to see God is in meditation, which is a form of internal worship. This is the monistic or unitive approach to experiencing God, going deeply enough into our inner consciousness to find the essence of our soul, which is identical with God. Children can be taught the basics of meditation at an early age, beginning with sitting up straight, regulating the breath, and performing hatha yoga to quiet the mental and physical energies. These practices will help them remain centered, and they will mature naturally into deeper inner experiences as they grow up. So that's our raising children. It's Good Hindus section. Second topic here is continuing with religion and spirituality from a variety of viewpoints. And we're looking at the publisher's desk. 5 suggestions to SBNRs. And we're finishing it up. So we're starting in the middle and going to the end. So it's part 2 of 2 parts. So that's why it's starting on the 3rd suggestion. The 1st and 2nd suggestion were covered last time. 3rd suggestion, study with a qualified teacher. 3rd suggestion is to choose a guru who is accomplished in the system you have chosen. When I am asked, is a guru necessary? I often reply by asking, do you need a teacher to learn to sing devotional songs? I then answer by saying anyone can learn to sing simple devotional bhajans without a teacher. However, if you want to master the more difficult Hindu classical songs, a teacher is definitely needed. By keeping a healthy diet, meditating, worshiping regularly, and reading scripture, you can make spiritual progress on your own. But if you want to maximize your progress in this lifetime, you need a teacher. Here are 5 benefits of having a guru. And that's your question. What do you think are the benefits of having a guru? Oh, the text is going to list 5 of them. Gives you a sense how many there are. I'm sure you can remember a few. First, the Guru provides encouragement to continue to strive and move forward, even through difficult times. As our guide, he helps us achieve more than we could otherwise. So that's encouragement. Second, the Guru helps us develop a spiritual self-concept. Whatever self-concept we bring to him, be it one of self-doubt or one of great pride, the Guru helps us move beyond it and truly identify ourselves as a divine being. So we don't want to have a seriously negative concept or to have a seriously prideful concept, which is the other end of the extreme. We want to move away from either of those and into spiritual by identifying as a divine being. Okay. Third, By voicing the ancient truths, the Guru provides personal living insights that surpass the understanding one acquires by reading books. This is an important point. It's in the Niyama Siddhanta Shravana. In other words, the traditional way of learning is by listening. Even in memorizing Sanskrit chants, it's based upon listening. And listening gives us a deeper understanding. The Tirukural even reflects that. It has a chapter on learning by listening, but it doesn't have any chapters on learning by reading. So it shows it's traditional. Fourth, the Guru helps us improve our behavior through focusing on our weakest areas, as well as giving us guidelines as to how we should behave, how we should relate to the world. So it's hard to see your weakest areas sometimes, but they can be pointed out if that's what you're wanting to have pointed out to you. Fifth, to advanced students, he or she provides initiation called Diksha to quicken unfoldment and bring divine blessings into one's life. That's all about our third suggestion. Fourth suggestion to SBNRs, practice daily. So the one-word answer to the question, can you name the quality needed to become a good dancer? Everyone knows the answer, practice. To become an excellent dancer, you must practice every day. The spiritual journey to moksha is the same. We move forward through practice, daily practice, steady practice. I encourage anyone serious about the path to establish an altar in their home, ideally in a special room used only for sacred activities. Hold a vigil every day, even if it is just 10 minutes. An ideal session is half an hour, and early morning is the best time. Fifth suggestion, cultivate devotion. Well, this is an interesting point. For those uncomfortable with the idea of religion, we're speaking to SBNRs here, I would say it is important to distinguish between religion in the sense of traditional ceremonies held in a temple, church, or other religious building, and the concept of religiosity. So what's religiosity? Religiosity is one's personal devotion to the divine, whoever you define that holiness. In the broadest sense, devotion is a deep reverence for everything that exists, an abiding appreciation, veneration, and awe. Gurudeva explained, when you have the energy of bhakti, of love, flowing through your body, meditation is easy. The bhakti experience takes the pranas into the higher chakras from the lower chakras, meaning it does that automatically. Devotion plays an important role in many systems of spiritual discipline. For example, in Patanjali's classical yoga, cultivating devotion to God, called Ishvara Pranidhana, plays a vital role in overcoming wrong cognitions and achieving the deepest level of meditation. So that's generally not stressed. You have to have devotion to Ishvara in Patanjali study, but it's true. In Hinduism, devotion to God can be cultivated privately at home through singing, chanting, and devotional ceremonies. Can also be strengthened by sharing these activities with other devotees. There's no requirement that these practices be done in a temple. In other words, some SBNRs don't want to show their devotion in groups. Happy to show it to their family, or maybe not even to their family. They contain it in their own room. I know some individuals who are that way. They're happy to worship Ganesha in their own room, but they will not go to the temple and do so. So that needs to be acknowledged and indicated that it's okay. Conclusion. The challenge for the SBNR is to make significant spiritual progress without traditional guidelines. The key is to craft your own systematic approach based on a proven spiritual path. And remember, enjoy the journey. That's the idea that we can be serious about making spiritual progress, but that doesn't mean we have to be somber in life. We can be joyous and friendly and happy and outgoing and still be serious about our spiritual practices. Oh, we have a new third topic. It's drawing on the material in a future publisher's desk entitled Climbing the Ladder of Consciousness. So this may be in the October issue of Hinduism Today, although it's quite far in advance. And it's in very rough condition. In other words, when it gets published, parts of it could be changed. First draft. Core aspect of all religions is for human beings to pursue their natural inclinations of wealth and love, carefully guided by virtue. Some religions, this is the sum total of its religious practice. However, in Hinduism, there is an important fourth pursuit, which in Sanskrit is named moksha. Together, these four pursuits of dharma, artha, kama, and moksha are referred to as the purusharthas, which mean goals of the soul. Also called chaturvarga, or fourfold good, they form a cornerstone of Hindu ethics. As is commonly known, the fourth pursuit of moksha means liberation from rebirth on earth. Gurudeva described moksha in this way. Liberation comes when dharma. So that's a question. What's the rest of that sentence? Liberation comes when dharma. Dharma has been well performed. So dharma in that sense means the various occupations in life, the different roles of men and women. We've done them all well. That's what dharma has been well performed is trying to say. Next one is easier. All our karmas are resolved, of course. If we have unresolved karma, we have to be reborn to resolve it. And God. And God has been fully realized. So I call that Gurudeva's threefold definition of moksha. He also has some twofold definitions, but this is the one that's most complete and the one I generally use. You can see it has three aspects. So just because you've achieved 2 out of 3 doesn't mean you're going to achieve moksha. You have to have done everything you should do on earth. Nothing left undone. You have to resolve all your karma, and then God has to be fully realized. Another way of stating God has been fully realized is for an individual to permanently reside in the highest states of divine consciousness. This means every day. Stable in the highest states of divine consciousness. To fully understand what this means, we can look at what the various states of human consciousness are. Imagine human consciousness as a ladder with 14 rungs. Lower rungs represent the lower states of consciousness, and the higher rungs represent the higher states of consciousness. An excellent understanding of these states is found in the Hindu system of course, the chakras. Our Harmonic Academy lexicon states that chakra is a Sanskrit term which has the literal meaning of wheel. Metaphysically, chakra refers to any of the nerve plexus or centers of force and consciousness located within the inner bodies of man, meaning they're not in the physical body. In the physical body, there are corresponding nerve plexus, ganglia, and glands, but no chakras. 7 principal chakras can be seen psychically as colorful multi-petaled wheels or lotuses. They're situated along the spinal cord from the base to the cranial chamber. Additionally, 7 chakras, barely visible, exist below the spine. They are seats of instinctive consciousness, the origin of jealousy, hatred, envy, guilt, sorrow, etc. These constitute the lower or hellish world called Naraka or Patala. There are 14 major chakras in all. Their Sanskrit names and location in the human body is as follows. Plus, we have placed each on our ladder of consciousness as a rung. First rung, Patala, located in the soles of the feet, murder and malice. Second rung, Mahatala, feet, absence of conscience. Third rung, Rasatala, ankles, selfishness. Fourth rung, Talatala, calves, prolonged mental confusion. Fifth rung, Sutala, knees, retaliatory jealousy. Sixth rung, Vitala, thighs, raging anger. Seventh rung, Atala, hips, fear and lust. So you probably never thought about it, but fear is a higher state of consciousness than anger. And then we get to the next page. Eighth rung, Muladhara, base of spine, memory, time, and space. Ninth rung, Swadhisthana, below the navel, reason. 10th rung, Manipura, solar plexus, willpower. 11th rung, Anahata, heart center, direct cognition. 12th rung, Vishuddha, throat, divine love. 13th rung, Ajnat, third eye, divine sight. And the 14th rung, Sarasrara, crown of head, illumination, godliness. So that gives us a good understanding of the levels of consciousness, or the ladder of consciousness, and climbing it. What this is trying to point out is it's not just enough to focus on the top. I want to realize the self. I want to realize the self. We are trying really to move up one rung at a time. That's what the focus needs to be, and this helps see that. In other words, if we're experiencing fear, we need to move out of fear into memory. If we're stuck in memory, we need to move out into reason. If we have a weak willpower, we need to strengthen our willpower. So we need to do what's necessary to move up one rung. And that isn't necessarily understood. That's the point. So we'll look at that more in satsang after the coming one. It's a topic I have to develop still. The coming satsang just finishes presenting the information. It doesn't really give suggestions of how to stay out of fear, how to stay out of anger. But that's what we need. So we need to just stabilize ourselves, moving up one rung at a time, and understand what's necessary to get from the rung we're on to the next one. Oh, thank you very much. Oh.